Hello, everyone. My name is Kara Melendi, and today I'm going to talk to you about spiritual expansion, connecting to your higher self, and what else did I put in the title here? Divinely guided action. And what really prompted me to do this today was looking at what is happening in the cosmos. So I am an astrologer, and part of the work I do around manifestation is really learning to connect with these lunar cycles and these shifts in the planets and work with that in our manifesting. And today there's a powerful aspect happening with Mercury, the planet of communication, the messenger, and it is forming a trine with Neptune, and it's also forming a square with Mars. So I want to dive into this because this is super powerful in your manifesting and really expanding your spirituality and forming that connection to your higher self. All right, hello Rita, Teresa, Rachel, Yvette, Kira, Megan, hello Paula. Say hi if you're joining, share this out. If you're on the replay as well, obviously you're not on the replay now, but if you're watching later and you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I always check back. I will answer your questions and all that goodness. So hello Teresa, how are you doing? Yeah, so powerful aspects today. So we'll take a look initially at Mercury, which is the messenger, which is the planet of communication. And it's all about like our intellect. It governs over knowledge and how we learn. And when I'm doing a reading for somebody and I look at the placement of Mercury in their chart, it gives me an idea of how they learn. So if Mercury is like located in an air sign, they're usually like very knowledgeable, very good with words, very intellectual. If it's in a water sign, they're more intuitive in their way of learning and very feeling based. And collectively right now, Mercury is in the sign of Scorpio. So for us all, it's like we have our detective hats on and we're going a little deeper beyond the surface, and we're really using to tap, like we're learning to tap into our intuitive and psychic abilities. And we're using that in the way that we are gaining information. So that's a really powerful shift. And when it's forming this trine over to Neptune, we have, anytime there's a trine with the planets, it's like this harmonious flow of energy. It's this beautiful combination of energy being exchanged back and forth. And with Neptune, it's all about transcendence. It's about connecting to your higher self. It's about connecting to your cosmic team, your angels and guides. So be very aware today of the intuitive information that you are receiving and where you feel that you are being guided today, because your intuition is going to be so strong. And we can dive a little deeper into that as well, because intuition is a natural gift that we are all given. When we chose to come forward into this physical body, we were all given the gift of intuition. And sometimes it's seen as like this supernatural ability, and in a way it is, in the sense that it's like an amazing way to gain data and information that goes beyond the logic and goes beyond the linear. But the other part of it is, it's actually so natural for us to have intuition and to be connected to our intuition. It is like the superpowers we were all given to navigate our experience here on the earth plane. Okay, let me check on some of these comments. Teresa, hello, hello. My Taurian and Scorpio relationship is amazing. We are flowing and communicating more than ever. That is beautiful, because Teresa, those are opposite signs as well. So opposing signs are actually very compatible, but they're kind of exploring different aspects of the reality, right? So when we have the Taurus energy, it's about being very like sensual, very practical, very grounded in our body. And then we have Scorpio, which is more about the spiritual side of it and the kind of the intuitive aspect of it. So it's really cool. Hi Tara, how are you? Rhonda has Mercury in Sagittarius. I love that. The adventurer, right? That is definitely a deep love of knowledge and wisdom and higher consciousness for sure. All right, and we got Samantha here as well. Hello. So let me know if you have any questions around this. I know collectively right now, like the energy has been pretty intense, and I did another video on this about all the Scorpio energy that we were in, which is actually like triggering some of the shadow within us and really getting us to kind of transform that into the light. And this has been an interesting topic that's been emerging for me lately, and messages that I've been receiving in the Akashic Records around this. And I'm feeling this shift as a collective where we are learning that we can grow and we can expand through this energy of joy, not just through challenges and difficult times. And, you know, here on the earth plane, dualism and this idea of contrast is so much part of our experience, right? It's like through those dark times and through exploring the shadow, the other side of that is the appreciation for the light, or this idea of when we know what we don't want to create in our experience, it actually creates expansion for what we know in our soul that we do want, and it helps us define that more clearly. And as we are ascending, you probably heard many light workers and healers speaking about this as well, this ascension into the 5D, which is very much based on the frequency of love and of harmony. I feel that dualism isn't going to play as much of a role. And part of this transitioning process is understanding that I can gain the lesson quickly, sort of thing. It's like changing how we relate to time, how we see time, and understanding this idea of growth and expansion can really come from this energy of joy and gratitude. And of course, the challenges and the struggles that we have in our life, we know that often sparks like great joy or great expansion as well, right? And it like helps empower us. But also just really looking at where in your life you may be addicted to that idea of struggle and challenge in order to bring about expansion and growth, and how you can begin to affirm in your life that you grow through joy. And just see how that like shifts your frequency, shifts your energy. This has been something I've been working a lot with lately, and I find it interesting that this kind of knowledge and wisdom is coming through while we are in the midst of all this Scorpio energy, and about to enter Scorpio season, which really is about how we see the darkness and the light, and how we make that integration within ourselves, right? How we work with this idea of contrast or dualism. So it's a very interesting time. And then of course, amidst it all, we still have our Venus retrograding and the goddess of love and beauty retrograding. So we're really digging deep to kind of clarify and define what we desire in our soul, what really matters to us, how we're showing up in our relationships. So it's really powerful. And I feel today with some of these aspects, we're really digging a little deeper into that. And because Neptune is involved, which is about transcendence, which is about connecting to the essence of our soul. And that's so powerful in itself, because we come into this physical body and, you know, our ego creates these stories and these beliefs about how life is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like. And we create these stories about who we are, how we relate to one another. And this trine between Mercury and Neptune is asking us to reframe those stories, or in a way, even detach from them, to kind of transcend those limitations that we may have placed around ourselves, and to see who we are and what is possible for us in a whole new way, in a whole new light. So let me know if this is resonating with you. It's very powerful stuff. And you know, when we learn to connect with those intuitive gifts, sometimes it goes against like logically what feels right for us, right? Like we may have something laid out on paper, whether it's in terms of our business or in our relationship, of the right steps to take or what would logically make sense. And then our intuition can come in and just say something doesn't feel right about that, and something doesn't feel aligned. And I think when we are very sensitive to energy, right, or as a light worker, as a spiritual leader, that sense of alignment and flow is so crucial for us. And today, this beautiful trine with Mercury and Neptune will help you get a sense of what that alignment feels like for you, and really is that invitation from the universe to turn to that sense of alignment again. Return to that and trust where your intuition is guiding you. Trust where it's speaking to you. So if you're just joining now, say hi below so I can say hi back. Sometimes it shows me the names here, but not always. So I think I saw Eve jump in, and Stephanie and Brenda. Hello. Camilla as well, Anna. And Tara's saying it's just making you exhausted lately. Yeah, you know, it's a lot of shifts at once, and the energy is going to lighten as we move into November, as we kind of wrap up this year. There's a lot of shifts happening that are going to take the shadow work that we've been doing and the deep inner work that we've been doing. And it's really we're gonna start to see the results of that. And we're really gonna start to see some momentum building in our life. So really just trust the process. And, you know, this is one of the things I've learned from manifesting with the lunar cycles as well, and really connecting to these different phases, right? Or these different seasons that we go through, and trusting that there is that time to do the inner work. There is that time to do the reflection. And we're not always meant to be in go mode. We're not always meant to be producing and putting things out into the world. There's these rhythms and these cycles that when we follow it, we feel more in flow with the universe. We feel more in harmony with it. And the Scorpio energy, it is about more of that inward reflection. And it's not that we don't take action as we're inspired to do so. I think I even mentioned in the title, yeah, divinely guided action. And where that's really coming in today as well is more with the square formation that's forming between Mercury and Mars. So Mars is the planet that's about action. It is that archetype of go out there and make it happen, get things done. Sometimes it's referred to as like the god of war. But it basically, in like its highest form of expression, it is that warrior spirit within us. So Mars represents that part of us that knows we are strong enough to rise above any challenge. And it gives us that ability to not run from the challenge, not allow fear to take over, but to like meet it head on and know we have the strength and the power within us to rise above it. So this is actually kind of spurring us into a place of taking action when Mercury and Mars form this square formation, which in astrology is known to be a bit more of a challenging aspect, is what it's labeled as. But what I've been learning lately as I look at the planets and I've been studying them is to even kind of get away from creating a story around that. And instead of seeing it as like it has to be this point of tension, it's simply an energy formation. And we get to choose how we interact with that energy, what that means in our life. So with Mercury and Mars forming this square, it can really get us to take that action as our intuition guides us to do that. And that's where aligned action is actually quite different from feeling like we need to take action in order to make things happen, or ignoring the signs of our body and pushing ourselves to a place of exhaustion. And it's more about trusting when we do receive this impulse, when we feel that something lights us up and is exciting, that's a sign from our intuition to then take action on it and move forward. So let me know if this is resonating, if you have questions around this at all. Hi, Lamorla. How are you? Danielle and Betsy. Hello, hello. Anna saying, I'm an Aries married to a Taurus. Ah, very interesting. I love to see how the energies come together. And like looking at relationships and compatibility, astrology is amazing for that. It's so fascinating. And it's so important to look beyond just the zodiac signs, just like the sun signs, and really look at all the other elements in the chart, because the moon sign, like the sign that your moon is in and the sign that your partner's moon is in, is going to say a lot about compatibility, because the moon governs our emotional response. It's where we get our sense of like safety and comfort. So what I've seen like doing readings for people, if partners have different moon signs, there can be a point of friction, because someone might have a moon sign that's in like a very, like if your moon is in Gemini, you're going to be more social. You're going to want to be out there like socializing and talking more. But if your moon is in the sign of Taurus, you're going to probably be more of a homebody and crave being, you know, in the comfort of your home. So looking at the moon sign as well as looking at Venus, because Venus does govern what we need in our relationships as well. So there's all these different factors we can look at to kind of get a sense of the compatibility of energy. And then always as well, it's like, where are we on that spectrum of evolution in working with the energy? Because how it's expressed in its shadow form is actually very different than its actualized form, right? So are we stuck in like the weaknesses of that sign, or are we learning to work with the strengths of that sign? And that's a journey, right, that we're all kind of learning to take and navigate. You are welcome, Tara. You're very welcome. All right, so seeing if there's any other questions. I think I saw Jolene jump in as well. Hello and welcome. So definitely take this time today to be aware of some of the downloads and some of the information that you are receiving through your intuition, and it can speak to us in many ways. So this may be like messages that you're actually hearing. You're receiving messages like to take action in these areas. It could just be a feeling that you get. Like for me, my intuition often speaks to me. It's like clairsentience is a strong one for me. So it's just like a gut feeling. It's very biologically based. And when something feels off, I just feel that in my body. I feel it constrict. But if something feels right for me, it's that expansiveness. And then the key as well is learning to trust that, because, and I know from my work with clients as well, it's not that we don't hear our intuition. We all know times in our life where we felt our intuition speak to us. It's learning to trust that, and it's feeling safe trusting it. Because there can be this fear that it's basically not trusting ourselves and not trusting the universe. So even just starting with like small little things of how your intuition is speaking to you on a day-to-day basis, as like, you know, I always use these examples, but what to eat for breakfast, or what like route to take on the way home or on the way to the store. And like just trust your intuition in those small things until you really build it up and realize that this is a powerful form of guidance you have been given, and you can trust it in making decisions in terms of your career, in terms of how you're putting yourself out there and marketing yourself and the information that you're sharing. You really begin to get more in flow and realize that your intuition is working in your highest and best good. And that's where we can gain so much clarity as well as we connect to it, because it's trusting that we actually do know within us what is right for us. Like we know the right steps to take. And it is just learning to trust that and take action on it. And today, with that Mercury trining Neptune, this can be that confidence you need to do that. And it's also really amazing to see like these planets of Mercury and Neptune coming together, because Mercury, like in and of itself, is very logical in how it approaches the world or approaches decision making, whereas Neptune is all about like trusting my soul. Where is my soul guiding me? So when those two really come together, it's like magical. And even the way that we learn and like we take in information seems to shift as well. And we're able and like have this ability to see beyond the words to really feel in to what's happening in our life. So it's really cool. Rita, hello goddess. How about control? Yeah, such an interesting topic, and that comes up with Scorpio energy, right? Like the sun is about to move into Scorpio. We have Venus retrograding in Scorpio. We've got Mercury there. We still have Jupiter there as well. And that is one of the shadow sides of Scorpio, is this need to be in control in order to feel safe. So for us all, it's like looking inward right now and really asking where I feel like in order for me to be safe, in order for me to be secure, I need to have everything under control. And it's learning to surrender and learning to trust. And that's a lifelong journey of like, how do I set my ego aside and really actually trust what my soul needs for expansion and growth? Because sometimes, and this has been another thing that I've been learning lately as I've spent time in the Akashic Records, is that what we think we want or need, like what our ego says, isn't actually what our soul is desiring or what we need on a soul level to fulfill our mission or fulfill our growth. So that kind of all fits into like releasing that need that things have to pan out a certain way for us to be okay, and trusting and more like working with these energies in a co-creative process. So it's almost like thinking a little bit outside of just ourselves and more of how our soul and our gifts and our message is fitting into the bigger picture and what we're here to share. Because in my belief, we're all connected. So it's like looking at it in that way. And when we really dig deep and connect to what are those deep soul desires, what is the mission I'm here to fulfill, it actually can shift a little bit than what we may initially have thought we wanted to create or manifest in our life. So it's a very powerful journey. Rita, sensitivity is off the charts, right? Tara, trusting is always the hardest part. I'm always seeking confirmation from places, for sure. Yeah. And, you know, that's part of our journey that we're working on as well. And the Scorpio energy right now will help with that too. It is trusting that we do have the answers within us. And when we go within, sometimes we can still be guided to like seek outside sources, whether that's like through a mentor or getting a reading from somebody or purchasing a certain book. Like we may be intuitively guided to go to these external places, but trusting that like that wisdom and that direction does come from going within. And this is something we cultivate by spending time activating our intuitive powers, knowing what our unique intuitive gifts are. And that's a beautiful journey in and of itself. And then it is that trust part. It's learning to really trust that, like, what if I do have the answers within me? What if I am always being divinely guided? And then at the same time, this Neptune energy is like, connect to that essence of your soul. It's also about connecting to your cosmic team. So your angels, the guides, your ascendant masters, any spirits that you work with or want to call in that are here to assist you on your mission as well. So that's where it becomes more of like this co-creative process and working with the energy surrounding us. Hi, Ashley. How are you? Blessings to you as well, Goddess. I'll need to come back and catch replay. Just saying hello. Well, hello. And the replay will be here. It'll be on my page for sure, so you can catch that. All right, so let me know if you guys have any other questions about what's happening astrologically right now, any of these shifts. I'm just going to have a look and see what else is kind of happening in the chart that might be good to mention. All right, I think I've touched on kind of the main things today. So definitely, I guess another shift, because I love to follow the lunar cycles as well, is we will have the moon move from the sign of Aquarius into Pisces, and we may feel more sensitive when that happens. So today is kind of that, it is that reminder to sink into our feelings and to embrace them instead of running from them. Because sometimes when emotions get really high or we're feeling things really deeply, like our desire is to want to escape from that or to run from it. But a Pisces moon is like that invitation to feel into it. And it's this balance of knowing that I'm not my emotions. My emotions don't define me, because we all know our emotions come and go, right? They're always changing. It's not who we are at our core. And at the same time, our emotions can provide powerful guidance into what our belief systems are, what stories we're creating about ourselves, our reality, what's possible to create. So it really is like that beautiful journey of sinking into the feeling without becoming overly attached to it. And the more that we really are willing to connect with our emotions and feelings, the more that our creativity is enhanced as well. And that's another aspect of the moon in Pisces, which again, happening later today. See the time now. Yeah, so just actually a few hours from now, the moon is going to shift from Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. And Pisces energy, and Neptune being the ruler of Pisces, is also about how we relate to and associate with our creativity as well. And the more you're willing to like connect with that part of you that feels your feelings, your emotions, the more creative you can be as well, right? Like creative expression often comes from that connection to our emotions. So this is another beautiful energy today for creative endeavors. And knowing like you can be creative in so many ways. You can be creative in just how you live your daily life, how you show up each day, how you express yourself in the way that you dress, in the way that you talk, right? In the way that you engage in your relationship. So this Neptune energy, and anytime the moon moves into the sign of Pisces, it is that invitation to explore what creativity means in our life and how that can be deepened as we're willing to like sink into our emotions and sink into our feelings instead of wanting to run from them. Hi, Artie. How are you? Marta, Cassie. All right, say hi if you are just jumping in now. Feel free to share this out as well. I also want to mention too, has been a divine download for me lately, because I've been taking more time during this Venus retrograde to really go within and just reflect on a lot of things in my life and the direction that I want to go, what feels aligned with me now, and even in terms of my business, what I want to offer. And I was feeling guided to open up some spots for one-on-one goddess mentoring, which is going to be a new one-on-one program that I'm doing, where I'll be working with you over the course of 3 months. And it is for spiritual entrepreneurs and light workers. So this is if you have a business, whether you offer like a service or product, and you're really feeling called to get that out into the world and release any fears around being visible, release any fears around like speaking your truth, and learn how to like attract those soulmate clients, how to create expansion in your business. So it's going to be really magical. It's also based on just claiming your birthright to abundance, to prosperity, to money, to freedom, and really just getting your message out there. So this is like a brand new 3 months that I'm doing. That's going to be one-on-one. And of course, astrology is going to be a part of that. So really learning how to work with your unique soul blueprint, learning how to work with your chart, and learning how to work in alignment with these cosmic shifts and planetary shifts that are happening in terms of like putting your work out into the world and marketing and launching programs. So send me a message if that resonates, so I can send you the details and see if that is a good fit for where you are. But I'm excited to share this with the world and to see the amazing women that are feeling called to go on this journey at this time and really just get their message out there. And, you know, in Casey, getting over the fear of being visible. Oh, it's so huge. And a lot of light workers and spiritual entrepreneurs have this fear. And I mean, that we can understand why, right? It can be scary to put yourself out there. And often it's very much linked to past life as well. But even like in November, we're going to see a shift of the North Node going into the sign of Cancer. And that's like the mother of the zodiac. That's the divine feminine. So I feel like we're going to have more women stepping up, or even men that feel called to bring this energy of the goddess, the divine feminine, forward. So I really want to hold that space, of course, for everybody that's feeling called to do that, and help you just release the fear of showing up and sharing your message, and, you know, just return to that place of trusting yourself, your soul, where you're being guided, and to work with that in a beautiful co-creative process. So yes, it is exciting. Janelle, thanks for sharing. Oh, you are welcome, goddess. Thank you. I'm doing well, ART, doing well. Let me see any other questions here. Tara's totally feeling the fear of that. Yeah, right. It's a common one. And I mean, that was big for me too when I started, and it's still scary to put myself out there. There can still be doubts that come up, but you know, I think part of it too that's helpful when we have that fear of visibility come up is just, again, like shifting to our message, shifting to what our mission is, and keeping our focus there. Because when we're focused on what we're here to bring forward, whether that's knowing we have a product that can be a service, we know that the gift or the message we have needs to reach people, needs to be out there. It's like focusing on that more than ourselves and our fear. So it's basically like feeding that energy of love. It's about connecting to your soul and knowing that when you take action from that space, you will be divinely guided and you'll be led to the right place. So really cool stuff for sure. And since it is one-on-one, it'll be very much personalized in what you need and where you're at in your business right now to take it to the next level and just get that message out into the world, because that's really what we need for sure. I'm talking about Mercury, right? The communication planet is getting our message out there. And yeah, and with Scorpio right now, doing that from like a place of allowing our intuition to guide us, the Neptune energy, doing that from a place of love, doing that from a place of service. Casey, feeling the fear, shift to message, connect to your soul. Absolutely. Beautifully said, right? It's not about like running or pretending the fear isn't there, because anytime we run from something, it just gets bigger, right? It's just, if we're in denial, we can't shift something. So as soon as we become consciously aware that a fear is there or any limiting belief, be grateful that you've now uncovered that you've now uncovered what was buried in the subconscious, and you've now brought it into the light, because then there's possibility to shift it. It's the possibility to notice it without like allowing it to run the show. And it's often like a practice in mindfulness too. It's knowing these stories and beliefs we've created for ourselves, and then also knowing that moment to moment we can choose again. We don't have to buy into the old story, because often like our beliefs, our thoughts anyway, it's just a repeat of the past. It's just these like neural pathways that have been practiced, so they come easier. But as we notice that, as we shift out of default and we choose again, we develop these new neural pathways. We develop a story that's more in alignment with our soul, the more in alignment with the truth of who we are. And then that becomes the default. So it's a beautiful transformational process for sure. Let's see here. Janelle, focus is my struggle. There's so much to share. I don't do any. Well, and you know what, Janelle? Yeah, I hear ya. It can be overwhelming. There's so much out there. And we live in a time where it's like we're bombarded by information. There's so much information. And that's where, even in my own practice lately, I've really just been going back to saying, where am I being guided in my soul? It's like, and then from there, consuming information, because I do love to learn. I'm like all about podcasts and following certain people's Facebook lives and their message, but it can get overwhelming. And I think when we're very creative as well and like multi-passionate, we always have all these ideas. Like it's no shortage of ideas. So it's kind of like our upper chakras are activated, but it's activating that root chakra, that sacral chakra. So we're taking these divine ideas and downloads, and we're like pulling the energy down and we're rooting it into our body. And then there's a feeling of like groundedness around it. And from that space, we take the action. So yeah, I hear ya. Develop new neural pathways. Yes, amen to that. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap up today. Thank you for joining me. If you're on the replay, leave questions, leave comments. I'll be back to answer them. And if you want more information on the one-on-one goddess mentoring, just simply send me a message and I'll give you all the details. Otherwise, enjoy this beautiful cosmic alignment today. Trust your intuition, go within, speak your truth, sending lots of love and light your way, and I will see you very soon. Bye.